All right, and joining me today is Corinne Laframboise, who fights Rainn Guerrero at Dana White's Contender Series Week 5. That fight is on September 5th. So, Corinne, I wanted to start here. I like asking everybody who's getting the call to the Contender Series this time of the year. You get the call from either your manager, your coach, or whoever it is that gave you the call. What's it feel like? What is sense of relief, sense of nervousness? How'd you feel when you got the notice?
Man, I was so happy. It's been like 10 years that I have the same way to talk. And I said, I'm going to go in the UFC. Let's make it happen. I'm going to go in the UFC. So can you imagine after 10 years waiting for that moment, I was a mix of happiness and almost cry, but super happy about that.
Well, that's great to hear. Now, you obviously in your last fight, you pick up this amazing win at UAE Warriors. You not only win the title, but you do so with some of the nastiest jiu-jitsu we've ever seen. The transfer from the armbar to the triangle, back to the armbar, everything there. It was an amazing win, but did you feel like this had to be the next step after this? Was it a surprise that you got the call?
No, I expected since the last two fights. So now with the belt, I think it's more. Yeah, I expect to have that call soon. So it took a little bit of time, but I will be sure that September 5th I'm gonna close that contract and yeah. So
Well, that's great to hear. Now, you said you put 10 hard years in there, and I actually just talked to Kareem El-Sawadi, who is talked about the same exact thing, talked about having a little bit longer of a career than the average person on Contender Series. Did you ever get to the point where you were frustrated that call had not come sooner?
yeah, because my ranking is not perfect. Like I'm 8-4, so it's not like a 10-0 record. So I know that took I gained some experience. I never went in amateur MMA amateur. I didn't do any kind of fight like this. I started right away as professional. That gives me the way to gain experience. So with winning, losing. No. But now I still like trying the strong more than ever to be able to uh, have that how you call that like so but have that big win September 5th for that contract in the UFC. I deserve to be in the UFC and like I work hard for that and I think that's the next step to be for me the UFC.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned the record. It has gone up and down. You're right. But the level of opponent you've been fighting is ridiculously hard, right? You fought Jamie Lynn Horth in there. You fought Manon Fiorot for 3 hard rounds in there. What is it like knowing that, your two most recent losses, the only losses you've had in like half a decade, are doing so well in the UFC?
Yeah, but me and Manon keep talking after that fight. The fight against Manon Pierrot was a real war. Like it was a real war for me. For her, it was intense as a fight, and I refer to that fight for the last next three opponents that I had, and I said nothing can be worse than fighting that girl, like for the precision of the fight and the punch and la la la. But we keep in touch, and she told me that I was one of her toughest fights. So I came in Vegas 2 years ago to help her for a training camp, and I can like I can see, but in my head there's nothing more strong than Manuel Fiorot for the opponent that I can have. So it's more. No, I should not say easy, but it's more. I cannot fight another Manon Fiorot, another number two. She's number two or number three actually. I think the ranking in the UFC or so it gave me good confidence for the other one, the other opponent.
Absolutely. And you mentioned training with her too. I wanted to ask about that because I saw pictures on your Instagram of you working out with Manon Fiorot. What was it like working out with her after having fought her and, like you said, having such a war with her? And also, what kind of led to you deciding to train with such a recent opponent?
But I that what's the question?
So what was it like to train with Manon Fiorot? And also, like, how did you wind up training with her after having fought her?
She catch COVID before one of her fights, so she was in Vegas, and she contacted me to come to help her during that fight week. We know Christophe Midou too. Christophe Midou used to work in her corner, so he asked me, "Oh, can you come for 1 week? She needs to be she needs to start training for that week, and the fight is postponed 1 week later against Meira Buenos. So I help her. I went there 10 days. We spar almost every day, but it's different. Like I should be smart too. Like 1 week before our fight, like I cannot go 200% like if we are in the fight, but I know that we will meet together in the next future. So,
that's great to hear. Now let's talk a little bit about your fight, because that's obviously why we're here. You're fighting Rainn Guerrero. You mentioned, you're not going to get another Manon Fiorot, and she is very different than Manon Fiorot. Manon obviously, pinpoint striking from a distance. Rainn is a little bit more of a grinder. You watch a lot of her fights. She likes to get up against the cage, get nasty with it. What did you sort of think about her as an opponent when they told you that that's who you'd be fighting?
but we do as same as we do for the other opponents. We watch her style at the beginning of the training camp. Watch the style of my next opponent, what she's doing good and what she's doing not that good. So after that, it's gonna be me who will decide if I bring her on the ground or if we're gonna go on stand up part or. But I think she's more she's offensive, like not defensive. She's more offensive, so I'm ready for that. I always like to do war, so I'm gonna be ready for that. And I'm that kind of fighter who likes the finishes. Who doesn't like? I don't know, but I like the finishes. So if it's with one submission, it can be amazing.
Well, we like watching those too. Now, you mentioned film study in there. Before I get your prediction on the fight, I do like getting fighters' takes on watching film and what it's like for them. So you said we do. So is it you and your coaches who watch film, and sort of how do you go about it? Is everybody sitting in a room? Does everybody watch the same video somewhere else? Like, what is your process for watching film with your coaches?
But yeah, it's with the team in general. The manager too is involved, and we are really close. So my jiu-jitsu coach and head coach Fabio Olenda, he's watching on his side, and at the gym, like the first training or second training, we have a brainstorm about that. So and my boxing coach Yann McKillop and the wrestling coach, I do everything separate. Wrestling coach is Zilberman, and it's gonna be this time Charles Jourdain, which is one of my partner at the gym, who's gonna be with me in Vegas. So we all watch that or record, but on each side, so we can have the ID of Fabio, the separate ID from boxing, from my boxing coach, from my wrestling coach, so we can spot what the weakness in that and what can be the thing that we need to be aware of. But yeah, that's how we do usually.
I like that. And it's good to hear Charles is going to be making the trip with you. So I usually like to end these things with the big prediction. So it's September 5th. It's at the Apex. How's this one end against Rainn Guerrero?
Submission. I would like to have a cold knockout because I don't have any in my rank, like a real cold knockout. But submission is always like a good feeling because it's the opponent to decide to stop. She cannot say that it's a lucky punch or whatever. She just decides, she tap, and poof, the fight is over. So why not? Submission again.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. This has been Corinne Laframboise, who fights Rainn Guerrero, Dana White's Contender Series Week 5. That fight, once again, is on September 5th. Corinne, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure to talk with you, Dan.